Good evening, everyone. Again, if you're joining after the live stream, quick reminder to skip a couple minutes ahead because I just do a little bit of traditional time wasting over here at the first few minutes. So just advance. And today is kind of a cool stream because I've been enjoying watching the narrative explode over the past few weeks. And especially, I think this week it's been getting it's really awesome. I think they're losing ground fast. And we're going to go through a couple of articles that show this. And there's so much more. Like I couldn't even capture. I think I'd have to be on here for about 5 hours to capture the true implosion that happened during this week. But I'm still going to stick to 1 hour tonight. So yes, we're going to go through all of that and we're going to see all of this craziness. So if you've been hanging in there and stayed true to yourself and the truth, good news, the light is at the end of the tunnel. Also, I'm going to try not to choke on the stream tonight. So hopefully that goes well. Wish me luck, guys. Fingers crossed that I can look like an actual human being tonight. So, all right, we're going to get started as soon as a few more people join in. So I'm going to say hi to a couple people in the chat. So David, you're here. Hey, Crit, how are you? Rage Mim and Faye, you're here. Faye, hi, how are you? I hope you were having a good week this week. And Binks, you're here. So if I screw up something, let's go. My fact checker right here. And Ria, hi Ria, and Sam. Oh my gosh, you guys are awesome. I can't believe you still come in every week. So yes, Ria, Prince Andrew, yeah. So yeah, it's coming. So I'm telling you guys, hang in there. If you find that this is a really tough time and you're thinking, oh, it's not looking good, don't despair. Hang in there because I think we're almost at the end of all of this nonsense. A lot of people I'm finding are waking up. True story. All the people that I know at my work are all either double injected or double injected plus one booster, and all of them are sick. And I'm not saying this I'm not happy about this. I feel really bad for them that they're all sick. But it's hard to explain to them. I think a lot of them are starting to realize that even with the booster, they still got sick. And I think they're waking up. So there is some light at the end of the tunnel. We're getting there. And so hang in there. If you haven't gotten yourself injected yet, don't despair and don't do it out of fear or because they're bullying you, because this is actually starting to turn around. So the Great Reset, I know there's a lot of talk about the Great Reset, but I think it's just about time that we do our own Great Reset. They can't do the Great Reset if people are red-pilled into this. So it's time for us, I think, that we need to start looking at how we are going to rebuild after they've done, these governments of the world over the last 2 years, is demolish everything. And I have a list of everything they've demolished. We're going to cover that tonight. They've demolished everything. So what we are left with, us and of course our children, is the rebuilding, the rebuilding of each of our nations. And as I've said before, the true key to this is going to be small government. So get the government out of as many places as we possibly can. And their incompetence was shining through this whole pandemic. The flip-flopping, it was just so insane that they have lost their credibility. So the governments of the world, sorry guys, you've lost all credibility on all fronts. But there's a couple other people and areas that have lost credibility, and we're going to cover that. So first one is the loss of confidence in the medical establishment. So this is kind of a shock to us in the West because we're used to thinking of medicine as something that is a relationship between your doctor and yourself. So we can find a doctor. If you want to see a naturopath in Canada, a chiropractor, whatever, you can go and find a doctor you like, and you can actually have a relationship with that doctor in terms of your health care. So that's how we knew it. But how they've destroyed the entire medical establishment in the last 2 years is by the government interjecting himself in between you and the doctor. So they've done this multiple ways. They have done this by mandating the vaccine. So saying whatever you think and whatever your doctor thinks, whatever, we don't care, we're going to mandate that. And they've also done it by interjecting themselves de facto in between the doctor and the patient. So basically it used to be doctor-patient relationship. Now it's government-patient relationship, with the doctor just being an extra arm of the government. The doctor now just became a government agent. So instead of being an agent advocating for your health, they're now advocating for the government's agenda. And that's how they've essentially crumbled whatever credibility was left in our healthcare system in Canada, which was pretty horrible to begin with. It's just bad. So the government interfered. Now, their mandatory procedures on us, this was not good. And it, again, eroded further the destruction of medical institutions, because once you mandate something, the line to go to mandating whatever else they want is very, very thin. So you go from mandating a vaccine that everybody thinks is great and it's going to get us out of a pandemic. The next step after that, you can get into very dangerous territory like eugenics, and you can start mandating things like microchips being implanted into people in the name of collective climate change benefits. You know, it's for the greater good. Climate change is a panic. For the greater good, we must inject you with a microchip. All of this is the slippery slope. Once you start allowing the government to do one thing injected in you, it will not stop there. And a very rude awakening for a lot of people. And I think people are starting to realize just how detrimental it was to have a government being right there at our doctor's appointment with us, telling us to get a mandatory vaccine. Sorry if you guys are hearing my little dog running around. She's from Texas, so shout out to Texas. And she grew up there, and she was like a street dog for a long time. So she has this really bad habit where she will take one little niblet of food and bring it over to a safe zone and eat it over there. So she cannot eat in front of her bowl. So she's done that since we've had her. We've had her for a few years. So the side effect is that I think my mic might actually pick up not only her little chewing, but her little tippy-toeing across the room. So apologies, guys, but that was my dog. Okay. And as well, so last thing about the doctors, they were bullied. So I actually have a story to show you about bullying of the doctors, and it actually happened. This one is from today, which is very I'll show you. It's a couple of doctors that were caught. Let me just grab that article up here, if I still have it. It was, hold on, let me find it. Yeah, revealed. Let me show you this one. I'm going to share the screen here. I'm just trying to make sure there's no sound. Sometimes I have like about 300 tabs open, and there's like one of my tabs will have a video that will start and I won't even realize. Okay. So here, this article here revealed how a web of Canadian doctors are undermining the fight against COVID. So this is global news, very, very alarming article in the sense that they're showing here that Canada no longer wants different groups of doctors getting together, trying to look at a situation and analyze it and come up with a solution. They don't want that anymore. They're basically saying now, Canada, we only want doctors that go with what the government says. So this is what it says. And this was from today. So it came from this article that I saw a little bit earlier today. So January 19th, 2022. Today is also January 19th, 2022. So super recent. But this is the Minister of Health in Ontario. Her name is Christine Elliott. And this is the title of the article. So COVID disinformation sharing by Canadian doctors is extremely concerning, Ontario Health Minister. We're going to get into this article. It is what I find extremely concerning is how you're not allowing doctors to use their medical training to try to combat a disease. How is this possible? If a medical doctor accidentally finds aspirin, for example, would help with a specific problem, and they're trying to say it, why would you say, no, you can't say that. You're only allowed to propose this new drug that we came out with that is 25 times more expensive than aspirin. And if you do aspirin, we're going to remove your doctor's license. This is what they did in Ontario. So we have the board of college, what is it called? The College of Physicians and Surgeons of Ontario, which is the governing board for all doctors and surgeons. And they are the ones who have been bullying our doctors for the last 2 years. So Ontario Health Minister is urging the regulatory body overseeing the province health to crack down on a group of doctors spreading unverified medical information about the vaccines. And so this news investigation, this is the second tab I have here. I want to show you the investigation before we go more into this insanity down here about what the Christine Elliott minister did. But here they're talking about a group of 4 Ontario doctors who they were summoned, I don't know the proper term for this, but they were brought in front of a legal proceeding by the College of Physicians last year. And they are accusing of, look at this, look at the wording, failing to comply with investigations into allegations they issued false medical exemptions. So this is what they call false information. So they have a problem with doctors handing out these medical exemptions and failing to comply with the investigation. So they couldn't directly attack them on issuing the false medical exemption. So they're going after them on failing to comply with the investigation. And that's a broad term, can pretty much be slapped onto everything. So the words this is very Stalin-esque. This is the kind of thing you would almost see in a show trial, where they would just do a fake trial where a show trial in the USSR was, the outcome was already predetermined, but they would put you on trial it would achieve a few things. One is to intimidate anybody else who's thinking about doing this, but also it's to have this pretend democracy attitude about it. It's really not, it's not an actual trial. So they're kind of doing the same thing in the medical world here. And they're saying here that let me read a few. I'm losing my words already. 13 minutes in and I'm already sucking at this. Okay. After being informed that Trozy and Phillips, their lawyer has decided to withdraw and would not be appearing at the hearing, despite CPSO counsel telling Alexander this was not allowed under civil procedure. So again, this is more bullying. They're not allowed to withdraw. Conversation then turned to Killian, her lawyer, Rocco Galati. So again, they're never going to miss an opportunity to tarnish Rocco Galati in here. So they're saying he was just hospitalized. Now, of course, they're talking this way about Rocco. The prominent anti-vaccine lawyer has frequently represented groups and individuals challenging vaccine mandates and has described the vaccination as experimentation. Well, it's funny because I think the WHO and so the World Health Organization in the, I forget the name now in the US, but they've also described the vaccination as experimental. And you know who else did? Pfizer and Moderna and Johnson & Johnson. They all came out and said it's experimental. The trials are set to last until 2023. So it is an experimentation. They're trying to they're talking to us like we have no idea. We have no internet anywhere. Nobody has a ability to go on Telegram. They're talking about as if we still thought it was a fully approved vaccine. So what followed was a journey down a rabbit hole of the anti-COVID-19 vaccine rhetoric, conspiracy theories, and one claim that the pandemic was a planned exercise in population control. What's funny about that is Klaus Schwab actually said it is population control. Agenda 2030, that's what they're talking about. It is. So it's funny that they say this as if we don't know. It concluded with an argument from the defense lawyer that Canada's COVID restrictions are akin to Nazi regulations. And any of you who followed that first series I did last year on Nazi Germany, and I did, oh my gosh, was it 15 episodes on that? Where every episode I showed you how more and more and more we're going down the path of Nazi Germany, and it was a direct link to the restrictions we were getting, the loss of freedom and all that. And it is. And now we are, and I could argue that places like Quebec, some of their aspects have gone beyond Nazi Germany. They're past Nazi Germany, like the announcements that they had last week in Quebec. So that was past Nazi Germany. I talked about it in last week's video, but yeah, we are doing a lot of measures that are very, very close to what Nazi Germany did, similar to what East Germany did under the USSR, and similar to what like China is doing, which is also, oh, and by the way, China issued, the Olympic Committee issued warnings to the Olympians and their surroundings going to China, not to say anything against China and their dictatorial regime when they're in there. Don't talk about it. Don't talk about communism. Don't diss communism when you're in China, boys. So yeah, you don't, this is what we're doing in Canada is very similar to what some of the worst regimes have done in the past. And it's quite alarming because Canada traditionally is a country that always fought on the side of freedom, and we fought against the Nazis. We fought, against any of the communists as well, alongside with the US. And now we've become what we fought. So, okay, these views from licensed medical professions. So these are not idiots who had these supposedly anti-COVID vaccine views. These are licensed medical professionals. So until COVID, Ontario decided they're competent enough to practice, and they gave them a license, and they were in good standing. But when these doctors didn't go along with what was being said, then now it's becoming a problem. All of a sudden, you're an incompetent doctor. See how it works? This is how it works. So they say that they're seemingly at odds with the science. Right, and they're not confined to this virtual hearing. So basically, they're saying there's more doctors. So a small but vocal minority of doctors. This is a standard line they use: small but vocal minority. They use this for the anti-vaxxers. They use this for the doctors now. Of doctors across Canada is attempting to sway public opinion to oppose the vaccines. So, by the way, this small but minority of doctors, just to give you guys an idea, for them to get their voices heard, they are risking their license. They're risking their entire career. They're risking potentially fines. They're up against not being able to broadcast on any platform like Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. They're really have to go on to the alternate media at this point. So half of their message boards are erased. They can't get on there anyways, even if they wanted to. So the stack of cards is, or the deck, how do you say? The deck is stacked against them. The card deck, is there a card deck? The deck is against them? Whatever. It's against them to begin with. Whereas the doctors who are either not speaking out or completely in favor of the vaccine, they do not suffer any consequence at all. They're applauded, encouraged. They're the heroes, and they are not stopped on YouTube, Facebook, and they can say whatever they want. So just to let you know, if you're a doctor in Ontario and you're going against all of this, you're not only incredibly brave and fearless, but you're also truly, truly considering the truth. You really want to understand what is happening because you're risking everything you've ever worked for to get this message out. So this is why when we see these articles that keep bashing our doctors who are trying to maybe look at something in a different way, knowing what they are against, is just absolutely horrible that Canada is in this state right now. Many are being investigated. So can you imagine you're a doctor and your license is threatened to be revoked, and on top of that, you're being investigated. So you have a couple of bureaucrats in your office, your medical practice, going through all your files, and you have to show them everything and get everything downloaded from a computer onto one of their things and a hard drive. And can you imagine just the amount of turmoil this brings into your life? So experts are concerned that these doctors speaking at rallies and promoting their views are lending weight to the anti-vaccine cause. It's definitely harmful to the public. Well, this is one view, right? One view is it's harmful to the public. This is the view of global news and the government. It's absolutely connected to the vaccine hesitancy rates that we're seeing. They're just adding to the infodemic and the sludge of disinformation. I find it funny that a place like Global News, who has been broadcasting all of the government propaganda for a year and a half on COVID, they're the same people who are like, wear a mask, don't wear a mask, wear a mask, oh, wear an N95 mask, oh, now the mask doesn't work, lockdown people, don't lock down people. They change their mind all the time on the whim of the government, and they're the ones who have the audacity to say disinformation. I just find it so ridiculous. Do they hear themselves? Do they hear themselves talk? Clearly they don't. Clearly they don't. Making it confusing for many people. So yeah, not the flip-flopping of the government. That doesn't cause confusion, but definitely this small but vocal minority of people who have a hard time getting their message out because they're banned everywhere. They're causing disinformation and hesitancy. Okay. At first glance, it seems these doctors are acting independently. So basically what this means is these doctors have critical thinking and they're able to think for themselves, and they're not being led by propaganda and being threatened and allowing them to themselves to go against their own morals. That's what that means by acting independently. So basically hero doctors. Okay, so yes, they're going to a whole bunch of stuff about the certificates that you could get exemption. Now, of course, they put the doctor in here. You guys can go and read this article if you want. Global News obtained a medical exemption from a source. So basically, Global News, I think they infiltrated a few boards and managed to get these exemptions. And by the way, guys, I suspect that a lot of the stuff, you guys know this, but a lot of the stuff on Telegram is infiltrated by government feds, and you know, there are a lot of trolls in there. So anyways, just keep that in mind as you are posting on there. So anyways, they keep going. So then you have a bunch of other declarations in here. You can read all of this if you want. I don't want to spend too much time on this. But yeah, the COVID vaccine, doctors on tour alleges COVID vaccine kills children. So anyways, you guys can read this article if you want. But if we get back to what Christine Elliott says. So basically, Christine Elliott is now using the strong force of the government. So this is, again, very much something Hitler would have done, using the arm of the government, the board of surgeons and the College of Physicians and Surgeons of Ontario. She's calling upon them to increase the measures against these doctors who dare to speak out. So she says some doctors are, let me just go back up here. At the time, it's never been more important for Ontarians to have confidence in the safety and effectiveness of vaccine. This is unacceptable, she says. So she made comments that she wants the board to come down on these doctors a little bit harder than they already have. So she says that some people are sharing unverified information. It's because they don't want to verify it. Of course, it's going to remain unverified until you verify it. This is why they can keep calling it unverified, because if you pretend it doesn't exist, it's unverified. All the doctors except one have medical licenses. So she labeled the reports as extremely concerning. Again, what's concerning is how she's using the strong arm of the government to intimidate the doctors. So she's sending a letter to the College of Physicians and Surgeons of Ontario, urging them to do everything that is possible to put an end to this behavior. If you read this with Stalin's voice, you can almost hear him saying this kind of stuff. So all these little dictators, getting a little bit of power, just going full berserk on us with that tiny bit of power that they got. It's just insane. So urging them to do everything that is possible. So what they mean here is intimidate them, remove their licenses, because they all have licenses. Remember, they said up here, they all have medical licenses. So that's possibility. Remove their medical license, intimidate them, threaten them, investigate them, do everything that is possible to put an end to this behavior. It almost reads like a mafia hit. You know, it almost reads like everything that is possible. Well, is she threatening to kill them? Like, is this where Christine Elliott is going with this? Like, everything that is possible? I mean, I suppose it's possible to kill them. Is that one of the options on the table, Christine Elliott? This is dictator behavior right here. This is mafia. They should consider all options in doing so, including reviewing the licenses of physicians found to be spreading the misinformation. So, congratulations, Canada. You have de facto killed any confidence and any possibility of the medical field standing being a glorious field of scientific discovery and health into this place where our doctors are threatened. They're afraid to speak out. They are basically stuck having the government in every consultation room for every patient that they meet now. This is where we're at. Our medical care sucked before. It sucks even more now. So anyways, as we rebuild, I think that having these licenses we should consider this, but not having licenses anymore that are issued by the government. If it could be something else, if it could be a true independent third-party private group that is in charge of monitoring but does it fair, I could see that. But then again, if you just let free market take over and the doctors who are really, really good and do a really great job, they see patients, their patients are happy, they should not be responding up to the government anymore. This is what I think we should do as we rebuild our society and our economy after all of this devastation. Okay, so that's it for this year. Let me just go back to my other list. I'll catch up to the chat a little bit too while as I catch up my breath. Notice I haven't choked yet. I should not what did you say? Jinx myself, because yeah, it might still happen. I see a few more people in there. Trent, I don't know if I said hi to you before. Anna Z, hello, Anna, Tassaniko. Oh, yeah, so many people have joined. So I'm so behind on the chat here. Oh, guy. Okay, Vernon, thank you so much for all the emails the messages you put on my YouTube channel. I love it. I love reading your messages, and thank you. You always post very good commentary on there. Thank you so much. Jamie, you're in there as well. E-Sharp. I don't know if I've said hi to you. I haven't seen you in a while. Hope you're doing well. Fates, Thought Drifter, so many people. Clayton, T.gh. Oh, Jer Hubs. Thank you for this nice comment, Jer. Here we go. Oh, thank you. I try. Okay. So now, what else have we destroyed? What else? And by we, I really mean our governments, our idiotic governments, complete a-holes, stupid dictators who want to take as much power as they can. So they've also destroyed journalism. It's not just them. The journalists went along with it. You guys have screwed yourselves over too, because now none of us can take you seriously. So I see articles come out of pretty much anywhere. And I'm like, yeah, right, whatever. Oh, it's from the CBC. Yeah, propaganda arm of the government. Can't believe anything they say. So this is not only applicable to stories and things that happen, but it applies to everything like statistics. We found out, and we covered this last week, how they lied about the number of death by COVID versus death with COVID. Even the CDC had to come out and admit that that number was grossly inflated to the tune of like 95%, I think it was. So they've admitted they lied to all of us to keep the fear going just a little bit longer. You know, like we need the fear. We need enough fear until we can get the vaccine out. So they lied about that. Then we found out that even after the vaccines were rolled out, in Ontario at least, and it's probably like this where you are, they lied about the admissions to the hospital with COVID versus, because of something else or because of COVID. So because they were swabbing literally everybody who walked into a hospital in Ontario, you went in because you got into a car crash, or, you rode your bike down the hill too fast and you smashed your head into a rock. You went to a hospital, they would swab you. Oh, you have COVID, because they also admitted the PCR test couldn't figure out the difference between the flu and a cold and COVID. So they swabbed you, and it turns out you had COVID. Well, they would count that as a COVID admission. And now they woke up last week and were like, oh, well, maybe we should look at who's coming into the hospital, why they're coming into the hospital. Well, great, Einstein. I'm glad you finally caught up with the rest of us normal people out there who want society to run in a normal way with normal things happening. It was clearly done so they could keep that fear going. So that all crumbled last week. But the articles, all the journalists, you're all at fault. You will all pay the price. And I hope you all get fired. Every single last one of you. I have absolutely zero sympathy for any of the mainstream media who has gone along with this for the last 2 years, lied to us, stoked the fear, and then have the audacity to come after anti-vaxxer and say that we're doing the, I'm not an anti-vaxxer, but saying that anti-vaxxers are fear-mongering after all the fear-mongering you did. And all of this is published and it's all archived. So there's a bunch of internet nerds everywhere in the world who have archived all of this. And this will soon be evidence into the true devastation that the media has done in their big part that they've played in this whole destruction of everything that we have. So now, zero credibility out of the mainstream media. We saw it coming for a long time. A lot of us didn't listen to the mainstream media, but now it's official. So let me see if I have anything else here for the destruction of the media. I don't think oh yes, I have one here. I just wanted to show you this one. I hope I can find it very easily. I think I have it right here. I don't know if you'll see it big enough, but okay, I'm going to show this to you, and I hope that this is going to be big enough. Do you see this image right here on the side? Let me see. Can I make this bigger without going to Twitter? Let's see. No, this is the biggest I can get it, guys. Sorry, I don't want to go to the guy's Twitter feed and look at it. But there's an image here, and it's divided in 4. And at the first start, you have these 4 guys here. And this is all the COVID narrative. So makes you immune, right? These are all the valid arguments for why you need to take the jab. Makes you immune, government says so. Third guy says it's safe. And the last guy says keeps you out of hospital. The second image here. Government says so. So still right there in the middle. This is Stalin clearly taking more power. Second guy saying it's safe is there, and then keeps you out of the hospital is here. Makes you immune has disappeared, because by this time we've realized it doesn't make you immune because they lied to us. The third image, government says so, and it's safe. And by the fourth image, government says so. So this is a perfect illustration of what we are doing now. And I love that they picked Stalin to do this, because it is also a perfect illustration of how we are going through all of this. So, okay. The destruction of our freedom is the third one. So the journalism, in order to rebuild it, that's already been happening. So when we're talking about rebuilding our new society, a lot of you guys have found out that the true stories are on Telegram, and the true stories are really in the comment sections of a lot of the places like Facebook. Last week we did Trudeau's comment section of his own Facebook page, and the utter destruction of his narrative by people in there, and the fact that it was on Facebook was just beautiful. But that's where you get the real information from. So I think the media is the first place where the rebuilding is already happening, and we just need to get a bunch more people onto the alternate media sites and to understand how they've been fooled by the mainstream media. And that plan to rebuild is already on its way. There's a lot of people on there that are very smart, that are putting their messages out there, and that are actually making a difference. Okay, so there's a couple of things I wanted to show you this propaganda. Get ready to be super cringe, okay, guys? You're going to be cringed out. This is going to be level 100. I warned you. Faye, get ready, okay? It's not Trudeau, but get ready. And I'm going to see if we can actually make this full screen before I start this out. Okay. I think this is it. Yes. Okay. A bit of context. You guys have probably seen this. This is, I think it's New Zealand came out with this propaganda piece, and it's a cute date idea. So these two, I think it's two girls. I can't even tell. This definitely a girl. This one I think is a girl, but whatever. It doesn't matter. I don't care about that stuff. It's about, they go on a date, and it's about the vaccine. But I'll just let you enjoy the cringe worthiness in here. I hope the sound is loud enough. Let me just calibrate that before I burst your ears. I hope it's loud enough. Let's go.
Okay, so now lockdown's over. Should we go out and do something on the weekend?
I mean, the new Spider-Man movie's coming out.
Oh, that is true. And
Northland?
great idea.
Hey, 2 tickets to see Spider-Man, please.
Sure thing. Can I just see your vaccination certificates first, please?
Of course. Here you go. My parents haven't let me get vaccinated yet.
I mean, you're over 14. You don't actually need to get their permission.
I don't.
So I don't know if you can hear it really clearly in here. It's kind of muffled. And I hope you can hear the video. Can you guys let me know? Binks, can you let me know if you're hearing the video in here? But what they said, so they started out on the bus, and they were going to the movies. And so, of course, the little dork stick at the movie, this beta male here. Where is this beta male? Let me find the beta male. This beta male, I think it's a guy. Who knows anymore? But this guy is saying, "Can I please see your vax passport to go to the movies?" Right? So again, and then the two girls. So
See your vaccination certificates first, please.
Of course.
So obviously this one is like proudly presenting it, right? Like she's been a good girl. She got, or he, is it a he? Can you guys tell me what the hell? Is this a guy or a girl? I watched this about 3-4 times and I can't figure this out. Binks, thank you for letting me know about the sound. But just watch this poor girl's body language here.
Here you go. My parents haven't let me get vaccinated.
You can't hear anything with these stupid masks on. Like, I'm so tired of these masks. Anyways, so she's like, "Oh, I don't have my vaccine yet." Like, as if you didn't know before showing up at the movie theater at this point that you needed a vaccine. Like, whatever. So check out this nice solution that these two ladies have.
I mean, you're over 14. You don't actually need to get their permission.
I don't.
So she goes, "You're 14. You don't actually need to get their permission." I don't?
Want to go do it now? Go on a backstage?
Let's go on a vax date.
That sounds fun.
Cool, let's go.
Oh.
Hi, darling. Ready for your vaccine today?
Yeah.
Can I just see it on? Thank you. All done.
See, that wasn't too bad, was it? No, thank you.
I'm away in the waiting room, and if you have any issues, here you go. Make sure you can sit next to the
By the way, don't you need 2 doses to be considered vax to go to a movie? Like, what the hell does this do? There's no point. So your movie date became a vax date for real. Like, there's nothing else you can do. It's ridiculous. Oh, good lord. Skippity skipperoo. Oh my god. Honestly, Faye, how cringed are you out there? Yeah, maybe it is Jacinda behind that. Oh my gosh. Like, can you believe it? They do this now? This is what we're looking at. And this was, first of all, like, how, like, this guy goes, "What the absolute F is this propaganda? And how much did my government pay these losers?" It's, I love this. This was brutal. I cannot believe that they actually, like, who did this video? I think my kids could actually make a more convincing video if they had to. Like, this is just so ridiculous and awful. I can't even understand how this was launched out there. But anyways, yeah, so that's what this, oh, it started up again.
So,
okay, no, I'm done cringing, you guys. This is it. Okay, So let's get rid of that for now. Okay, let's get into a little bit more news that I wanted to cover. So Jagmeet, I don't know if you guys saw what he got into some trouble this week. This is awesome because you have, before I get into what trouble he got into, let's remind ourselves that Jagmeet is the leader of the NDP, and the NDP, New Democratic Party in Canada, is the new communists. They are the ones who say, equality of outcome for everybody. And so what that means really is they want you to be poor, but him and his class, so they're the elite, they're part of the Communist Party, they're going to get stuff. But when he says equality of outcome, that's just for you. You have to be poor, you have to own nothing, and you're going to be happy. That's what his message is. But yet this week, so both his wife and him got into trouble, but see this chair he's sitting in, so he just had a baby, and this company, whoever they are, I don't give a crap, they sent the wife a chair with the idea that she would post it on Instagram. And so the wife was supposed to do that. Again, violation of the rules in politics that you're not supposed to accept gifts that are more than $200, specifically so you don't get into a conflict of interest, right? But yet these two idiots, they accepted it. She posted it on Instagram tagging it, and that's how they got caught. But the thing is, Jagmeet, not too much brilliant, did the same thing as well. He also tagged the chair. So both of them got into super hot water, like it says here, after that, because they're not allowed to accept gifts as a political official, a political leader in our country. There are rules, and of course, it's almost like they didn't care, because obviously they know this rule, obviously, but it's almost like they didn't care, and they were seeing how if they would get away with it. Luckily, they didn't get away with it, and they had to pay for this stupid chair that they got. So the rocking chair is $1,800, guys. Who can afford? Okay, maybe I shouldn't say that. I don't know anybody in real life that can actually afford an $1,800 rocking chair in real life. Like, I've only heard of like the Kardashians, the celebrities, but people that I know in my life, not one of them do I know can afford this kind of a rocking chair. So anyways, it's just funny that it was the NDP, because rules for thee, but not for me, right? This should be the new motto of the NDP. So anyways, okay, here's something else I wanted to go over. I saw this on Telegram this week. And before I get into immigration, let me put my disclaimer here, because there are some haters that are going to try to make me look like an anti-immigrant. Most of my friends are immigrants, guys, and I am like first-generation immigrants. Most of my family is first-generation immigrants, except for the ones that were born. So, for example, my brothers married immigrants. My nieces are second generation, if you want, because of that. So anyways, so I'm not anti-immigrant, okay? Most of my family is immigrant. I'm not anti-immigrant. Disclaimer out of the way, okay? But we picked 2021, which is one of the most devastating years in terms of our economy. What in the world would make anybody with a government think that during one of the worst years we've ever had in terms of a pandemic and an economic downturn, why would they think that that is the year you need to break the record on how many immigrants you bring in? And it's nothing against the immigrants who came. I'm just saying, what in the actual F is our government smoking to think that this could be a good idea? This, especially towards the last quarter of 2021, this is the quarter where people lost their jobs due to vax mandates. And the first half of the year, people were forced out of their jobs. So you're forcing people out of work, putting them on a very expensive CERB program, plus all of the panoply of extra CERB programs that the initial CERB spawned, right? It spawned like whatever, hundreds of other smaller programs. If you're disabled and you did this, then you can do this because of COVID, and then they would give that person money, right? So all of these little spawns of money giving that we did that put people dependent on the government. Why are you also bringing in all 401,000 new permanent residents, right? At this, and what pisses me off the most is this is the year where we were told we need to shut down your economy and we need 2 weeks to flatten the curve because we don't want to overwhelm the medical system. That's what they said to us. So if that's the true logic, and this is where I'm saying the governments have like just lost all credibility on every front possible, even on immigration now. They've actually lost it on immigration. Canada, the most welcoming country in the flipping world, has just lost immigration credibility with the population here because now you've told us we need to be locked down as to not overwhelm. Quebec had a, 4 or 5 months curfew so that they would limit the spread as to not overwhelm the healthcare system. That's what we heard for like 6 months straight. And that is the time that you think it's a good idea to bring in 500,000 new people. Don't you think these people are going to need the medical system at some point? First time they're going to be in a cold weather here in Canada, they're going to catch the flu, which is called COVID, but whatever, they're going to catch it. Don't you think they're going to go to the hospital? If it's the first time they get a flu, they're going to panic, and first thing they do is go to emerge. How was this ever a smart move? It's infuriating. And again, this is not against the immigrants and it's not against immigration as a process. It's against the government destroying us because they don't want us to go and overwhelm the medical system. And at the same time, bring in more people that will go and seek medical assistance. So it's just ridiculous. It's ridiculous. So anyways, they can keep, like I'm saying at this point, Canada, keep it up. Your nonsense, your idiotic moves, your stupidity. You're showing us that whoever's at the leadership positions and all of their minions carrying out this work, like you're telling me nobody in Immigration Canada said, guys, maybe it's not a great idea. Like, could we maybe reduce this number to something else? I get that we tried to do this pre-pandemic. That was our goal. But perhaps because of the pandemic now, we should slow it down, maybe so we can recover our own economy first. No, nobody said that. Nobody, not one person. They just went along. They're like, oh, yeah, let's go. Bring in these people. And again, I'm not saying these people to be anti-immigrant. I'm saying bringing in people when we're in the most devastating economy we've ever been in is perhaps not the best move. So keep going, Canada, because this will crash it faster and we can rebuild better after that. And I don't mean your kind of rebuild back better. I'm talking about our rebuild back better, where we are in control of everything and we have kicked your asses to the curb and we've put you on trial. That's the kind of build back better I'm talking about. Okay. There was another one. Let me see if I can find it. We'll get to this one. We'll get to this. Okay, this is the one. Mobile hospitals. So again, the vaccines were rolled out and we were told flatten the curve, limit whatever, everything reopened in the summer. And then come October, November, they closed everything back down in Canada again because of the moronic version of this stupid disease that's been plaguing us. So the moronic version is here and they're like, okay, shut it all down again, boys. Like, let's go. And they shut the schools, just ridiculousness again. But yet we just found out, so this was from January 14th, 2022, that they built mobile hospitals and they're in storage. They are the mobile hospitals that they built using our money, by the way, again, our money, are sitting in storage while you tell us that we have to shut everything down as to not overwhelm the healthcare system again. And of course, it's very obvious why these are sitting in storage. They'll never admit to this, but I know why. is because they have no one to operate these mobile units, because they fired all the nurses that were unvaxxed. They fired the doctors that were unvaxxed. So that's why they're sitting in storage. But they can't admit to that. So yeah, we have this sitting in storage. So yet again, more credibility loss. Government is an idiot. All of you in the government. I hate all levels of government for their actions of what they've done to us during this pandemic. All of you should be fired from your jobs, replaced with people that have common sense and normal private sector experience, that understand economics and ramifications. That's what should happen right now. All of you, every single one of you should be fired. All of you. I have no patience for the government anymore. Okay, maybe there's a couple in there that are nice. Okay, but you're not doing much to help, are you? You want to keep your government job, right? So, okay, so yes, so the field hospital, they allocated $300 million at the beginning of the pandemic for the construction of 15 mobile hospitals. And again, the federal government gave a sole source contract to SNC-Lavalin, of course, to build those hospitals. And they're still sitting in storage. So you can read this article if you want, but they are saying that they're blaming the provinces. They're saying the provinces have not requested the mobile hospitals because they don't have enough nurses. Oh, they admitted to it. I'm shocked. I am shocked. I hadn't read this article clearly before. I am seriously shocked. See, the Globe and Mail trying a bit late in the game to do some actual journalism, but because they don't have enough doctors to staff them. And, of course, they're not saying why. Why? I would like the Globe and Mail to tell me, why is it that there is not enough doctors and nurses to staff the mobile units that they created? But no, they won't go that far. They're just going to go, there's not enough nurses to staff them. But they won't say it's because they got fired because the government mandated them to take an injection they didn't want to take. And so we have a shortage now. Oh my goodness. Okay. So yes, so that was another thing. So again, the government screwing everything up that they possibly can. Keep this up. What else do I have? Oh yes, let's talk about England. England doing a bit of a 180 on this. So this is actually really good news, guys. This means that we're going to keep an eye on this, see if they're not going to just reverse course yet again. But right now they're starting to lift the restrictions, and they say that they announced in England, not everywhere in the UK, but in England, which is good news for us because we're both Commonwealth, but they will scrap the vaccine pass. So that's really good news. And so they'll be dropped for large events, and then eventually they'll be dropped completely. So this just happened today. They were announcing this today. And they're trying to get back to normal, and it's because a lot of people have woken up in England and are noticing what's happening and are fighting their government. And Boris here, I think it's an election year for him. My boy Boris getting a little bit scared here, like wondering about getting reelected. So he's trying to appear a little bit nicer. Doug Ford did kind of the same thing, but we'll see if this passes. But at least they're flip-flopping, because you can see now, if they ease up on the COVID passports and then go back to COVID passports after, it'll be another government flip-flop, and it'll be another obvious reason that none of this had to do with an actual health concern. It was really to do with the control of the government. So yeah, we'll see what happens, but keep your eyes on this government, because what they do tends to trickle down to what we do. I think this might spread to the imbecile Macron in France, who wants to annoy the unvaxxed. So this kind of restriction lifting will hopefully make its way to France and eventually hopefully come to us here in Canada. Okay. Grocery store shortages. I was looking at a few of those images. I think there's a few. So if you go on Telegram, there's a bunch, you'll see a bunch of images like this. And this is people actually posting them. This is very, very, a lot of these are in Canada. So if you look at the Atlantic regions, New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, they're starting to see some. I was out today buying groceries, and I started noticing that normally it's fully stocked, and it was like about half stocked now. and I've never seen it quite like that, but the shelves where I went weren't quite bare yet. But anyways, there is, these shortages are coming, and I really hope you guys are prepared and have some kind of a plan in place for this, because it is unfortunately a reality. So, and it's about to get bad with the truckers. So yeah, let's talk about the truckers really quickly. So truckers have a freedom convoy. I love it. So all the truckers are converging from all places in Canada, and they're going to Ottawa, and they're trying, and some of them are already en route. Some of them are going to be there on the 28th of January, but they have, a whole bunch of people going there, which is really, really awesome. They're protesting the COVID mandates, and it's so all of them, they're protesting all of it, the vaccine mandates, but also all the lockdowns and the restrictions. So they've kind of taken it upon themselves to be like the new representative of our freedom in Canada, which is amazing, because truck drivers are generally alpha males who don't take shit. And I'm really happy that it's the truck drivers going there. I'm a little disappointed it wasn't the army. Come on, boys. But at least we can get our own class of alpha males going to intimidate the crap out of Ottawa. So well done. There's a Facebook page for these guys if you want to see it. And they're putting updates in there as they go along. And there's also, I found a GoFundMe page, and it was awesome because they rose $500,000 for this. So you guys can go and check it out. Check out Freedom Convoy 2022. And there's also something like, if you guys live near a highway, like Highway 401 or one of the major highways that would be used to come to Ottawa from wherever you are, there is also a way to help a trucker. It's called, I can't what do they call it? Adopt the trucker, something like that. Yeah, this is their GoFundMe page, $500,000 here. And I think it's called Adopt the Trucker. And what you do is you would basically, they would park their truck somewhere near the 401 or whatever, and you would go pick them up and bring them over to your house just to break up their trip a little bit, give them food, let them shower, let them sleep, whatever, and then drive them back to their truck. So on this page, if you wanted to sign up for that, if you're in like a strategic location that it would make sense to do that, I thought it was pretty cool to adopt a trucker. I totally would. I'm just like in a really bad part to adopt a trucker. It wouldn't make sense. I would think I would annoy the trucker I would adopt. But if you're in a space where that actually makes sense, please go ahead and consider that. It's on their Facebook page. And okay, let me see what I had here. Oh yes, I want to talk about a couple more of the narrative that is crumbling. So here we have the World Health Organization. So I know for a fact I cannot get attacked by YouTube for medical misinformation on this, because it is from their website. This is their website. And I wanted to show you kind of the 180 they did on children vaccination. So they're not talking in here, and this is as of January 12th. They're not talking about the 5 to 12-year-olds here. They're only talking about the 12-year-olds, but I wanted to read this to you. So under their section here called Who Should Get Vaccinated, there is it says here, who should do it. People 18 years of older, including those with pre-existing blah, blah, blah. They talk about if you live or you're the provider for somebody who has immunocompromised, all of this stuff. So they say now, children and adolescents tend to have milder disease compared to adults. So unless they are part of a group at higher risk of severe COVID-19, it is less urgent to vaccinate them than older people. It's less urgent. More evidence is needed on the use of different COVID vaccine in children to be able to make general recommendation on vaccinated children. So this is a few days ago. They've completely changed their tune on this. WHO's strategic advisory group of experts, called ironically SAGE, has concluded that the Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine is suitable for use by people aged 12 years and above. No mention of the 5-year-olds here. Children aged between 12 and 15 who are at high risk may be offered this vaccine alongside other priority groups for vaccination. So it went from, in October 2021, it was, we must vaccinate the teenagers, the 12 and older. So countries all across the world have been vaccinating their kids, vaccinating. And now all of a sudden on the WHO main page for vaccination, it says only those, it's not only, but it says those who are high risk may be offered. See how softer the tone is now? A lot less threatening, more, oh, it's an option. May be offered this vaccine alongside other priority groups for vaccination. So again, if you've withheld from doing this to your children, you've been vindicated, because they have come around saying, unless your child's high risk or has some pre-existing condition, the children, they have milder disease compared to adults. So congrats if you held the line on this. You've been now proven right, and you didn't put something in your child that cannot be taken out. They're saying here, vaccine trials for children are ongoing. So that means if you're injecting any of your children, 12 to 18 to 15, or also 5 to 12, the vaccine, they're mentioning it here, vaccine trials are ongoing, meaning this is still an experimentation phase. Okay. So, and then they say it's important for children to continue to have the recommended childhood vaccine. So they're going back and talking about measles, mumps, rubella, all that stuff that they normally recommend for kids. So this is directly from the WHO. And last thing on Israel. Israel. So this is a chart. I don't know if you guys can see this really adequately. I'm looking at the screen. It's a bit small for you guys. So I'm gonna show you what this is. This is the trajectory of the timeline of the vaccine. So we know Israel had first shot, second shot, booster, right? So shot 1, shot 2, booster 1, booster 2. They're on booster 2 now. Now they just came out today and admitted that the booster 2 is not effective against Omicron. So, and this is because of this data here. These are all the daily new cases in Israel. So they had the mask mandate, didn't do much, right? Double mask mandate. The mask brought down the curve in Israel. This is what the Wall Street Journal is showing you, what all of the articles were saying, the mainstream lying media that we already covered today. They use the bottom of the curve on everything to put their articles out, but they ignore the top. So here they use Israel as the example for everybody to follow. Double masks and fines increased, it made sure that there were no more cases, right? Here's what the Wall Street Journal said. The masks brought the curve down in Israel here. So they're showing you the lower part of the curve. And now they're saying, everybody in the world, you need to mask up because it worked in Israel. And then they introduced the green pass here when it's semi-low, and then it went back down. They lift the mask mandates here when it's completely down. But they had started vaccinated. So they started vaccinated right around here, this curve here. So we see the biggest spike after vaccination, then it goes down. Then we see another bigger spike. And then this is where they have the second jab, right? Then they have the booster, and then boom, they have the second booster, and they have the highest amount of cases they have ever had, which prompted one of the main, I can't remember what his title is or his name, but he's one of the main governmental agents. He works for the government, and he's like the minister of something. It's a really big job. And he came out and said, okay, so the booster is not working against Omicron. So there you have it, guys. Everything is crumbling in front of them. And that means that we get to kind of look at this, take a step back and think, okay, the governments of the world, you have had your chance to show what you could do for us in terms of crisis. And you have basically proven to us that no matter what the crisis is, you won't succeed. You will just make everything worse. You will, instead of helping this, you're going to crumble something else around, right? Instead of helping people not getting sick, you're going to make them sicker, and you're going to crash their economy at the same time. So good luck to all governments of the world when you guys try to push that climate change agenda. Good luck to you. Because even though 30% of the population is still completely brainwashed, there's a whole bunch of us who are not and who will never allow you to get away with this. And then there's an even bigger portion who are starting to wake up now, and they're going to be on our side. There's going to be doctors, there's going to be nurses, all of those people are going to be on our side. And we'll have like the truckers. We're going to have no problem rebuilding this after you're all done making your mess. We're the group of critical thinkers. We're the ones that believe in freedom, believe in less government. We're going to rebuild fine without you. We don't need the government in our lives. So we have no problems. But you really should be afraid. If you work for the government now, if you've been silent all along, you're running out of time to pick a side, guys. You are running out of time, because every week that I do these streams, I'm showing you how more and more is crumbling and how easier it's getting for us to rise up on our side. And more people are joining us. So keep up the destruction, because it can only help us. So power through the last moments of the destruction, because there will be some bad times. Get geared up for this shortage is coming here. Make friends with all your neighbors, whatever you can, to survive this new thing. Sun's coming out, not the sun, but the warm weather is going to come back soon in Canada. We're going to be able to grow our own food. So get on that, and I think we can change this. We can make this a really good country like we had before these idiot governments came in and literally messed all of it up for us. So anyways, guys, that's it for me today. Thank you so much for joining as usual. And I will see everyone in the next stream next week. Have a good week, guys.